fuck, guys? Wow. Hey, what's going on, guys? I am a little bit tired, a little overworked, but I will have no days off this weekend, so I figured just about as good a time as any to start recording. I had this like hyper depressing. There's no place for a hero. Very true. E-Waste Gamer. I think that's Big Cal Homie. I think. I'm like 90% sure it is. Nice, man. I've taken a bit of a break from Borderlands, but I really want to discuss PC gaming or consoles. You know, as a focusing point. And you know, like E-Waste Gamer, you're a PC gamer. I'm sure that you'd probably advocate for PC, and I agree. You know, the PC is a really good purchase. It's just some of them can get really expensive. But I just wanted to discuss my opinions on the matter and why I prefer consoles. It's really like the difference between Ford or Chevy, BMW or Mercedes, Toyota or Honda. You know, you're gonna have your preference. So for me personally, like gaming PCs are great. Like, don't get me wrong, quality is great. You can achieve really good graphics capability. There's a lot of backward compatibility. There's a lot of mod support. There's a lot of community patches and stuff like that. But as someone who doesn't really care about modding, and I don't like modding in games, you know, and as somebody who plays lots of video games, I would have a lot of access to a lot of games on there. But you know, a few of my buddies own PCs that are gaming, and my buddy Chase owns a gaming PC. And common issue I see him have is that some of the games that he plays are super bugged out. I mean, like, there's some game crashes. His PC cannot handle certain games, like Red Dead Redemption 2, for instance. Just really big games, but he doesn't really play massive games on there anyway. But that's his particular setup, so his setup does not speak for everyone else's setup. But I feel like if I'm going to pay, say the ballpark, I'm not saying this is the real ballpark, but say the ballpark is $800, right? $800, I don't consider that to be cheap for anything. And I get it, you know, like, I'm playing this on a PS5, you know? A PS5 at one point in history cost $1,000, and it's not because the PlayStation was set at $1,000. It's because of scalpers. Scalpers. Yep. So that's what I'm talking about. A gaming PC that cost $800. To me, it just seems like a waste of money. Because in the long run, like, PCs are known to have, like, I think the worst gaming communities. Not saying that the communities themselves are bad, but there's not a lot of hackers and stuff on there with access to a PC. You know, and PlayStation's not entirely safe either. But, you know, I guess the other thing is, you know, with the PC, another justification for owning a PC is you can do a lot more editing. You can do a lot more software stuff, programming, modding. You can use it like a regular personal computer. You know, because at the end of it, that's all it is. It's a personal computer with gaming capabilities. That's all it is. And so, to me, you know, the benefit of owning a console is that it's just video games for the most part. Yeah, they've integrated streaming and Netflix and other apps, but for the most part, it's simple. It's easy to understand. I like simple. I like easy. I'm not really big into computer programming. I don't really care about how much gigabytes of RAM you can pull. You know, I really just personally care about if the quality of what I'm playing is worth it. Because if not, then, you know, it is what it is. Now, the caveat is, you know, on the gaming PC, you know, now they have it to where, you know, you could use a controller and stuff like that on a gaming PC, so the whole mouse and keyboard feel, I never liked that. So I would have to play with some sort of retrofitted controller. But like, right, like, I just like being able to boot up the system. I like how the system, like, updates itself. I like how I don't have to buy new hardware for my console. Like, I don't have to buy upgraded stuff. It comes pretty set up. And it will last a long time. But with the world of gaming PCs, it really feels like the only advantage that you really get is graphic fidelity. Better resolution, better FPS, better processing power, so it could process a lot more shit happening on screen at once without crashing out. But if you're gaming PC, if you're just starting out, you know, sometimes things can go seriously wrong. And some of those parts are really expensive. And, you know, like water coolant systems and shit like that, you know, if something goes wrong, if outside forces beyond just the PC's capabilities, like say you have a dog that somehow knocks it over and it breaks or fucks up the system somehow, you know, then that's a lot of money. Whereas with the PlayStation, you know, it's like if it breaks, I can take it to GameStop. I have places I can go where they'll fix it. Or I can fix it myself pretty easily. You know? And I've seen PlayStations and Xbox get dropped. I'm just saying, right? It's an example, but what I'm saying is you're gonna have to buy more parts, and those parts are also gonna be very expensive. And in some cases, not all. I feel like the amount of money people spend on parts, they could have bought an entirely new console. And so, yes, yep. You could do a lot of the repairs yourself, but I don't really think I would want to, you know? That's the power core. Great. Jack won't destroy Sanctuary today at least. Back to the city. Yeah, and that's something else. You know, I've heard that Nintendo is raising their prices as well, which I cannot stand that, because Nintendo is such a shitty gaming company. I made a comment on this Facebook post I seen, and so many Nintendo fuckboys are offended. It's literally because all I said was Nintendo sucks, PlayStation is better, and everybody. Just a rough, funny opinion, you know. And obviously it's an offensive one, but it worked. It offended a few Nintendo boys. And they're coming out saying like, oh yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing, here's the post. I will simplify it. The post was Killzone 3 versus the new Metroid game. Comparing graphics, the Killzone 3 looked 10 times better. And the PS3 is an old-ass console that you can get for less than $100. See what I'm saying? So the fact that you're going to pay a ridiculous amount of money for the Switch 2 to play this new Metroid game, and their games are going to be extremely expensive compared to some old PS3 games. Some of those old PS3 games hold up a lot better. And it's just like, people are like, oh, gaming's not just about the graphics, it's not just about the way they look, it's about these IPs, these games, and it's like, yeah, you know, and there are games that I like that aren't very popular either. You know, like I like Max Payne, and I like. You mind if I join your party so we could talk easier? Yeah, sure. If I remember your username on PlayStation correctly, I believe it starts with like an E.
So, how was the dying?
It was EPLAUDO. I'm like 90% sure that's what it was. If I remember correctly off the top of my head, that's what I believe it was. Oh, I gotta kill some more bloodshots.
Let's get you rolling.
And so, you know, my point was this, right? Like what are the properties that, you know, Nintendo has over like PlayStation or Xbox? What they have, fucking Pokemon and Mario? Like who cares about Mario? Mario is so lame. Like, and I really hate to shit on Mario, but I'm gonna shit on Mario. Mario is fucking lame. It's a fucking plumber that jumps on fucking mushrooms and jumps in and out of pipes. Like, bro, that's like about the lamest shit I've ever fucking heard. Well, that's not fucking fair. In what world is Mario lame? It's like, in every world. In every universe Mario exists, it's fucking lame. I ain't gonna lie, man. You know, I used to fuck with Mario as a kid, bro. You know, I played the spin-off games. I played Luigi's Mansion and shit on the GameCube. Doesn't mean it's like the world's greatest fucking game of all time. It's just, I'm just saying that, you know, I have respect for those games, but I don't think they're fucking cool. I think they're lame. Respectable, but lame. I would put it in the same category as I would, you know, fucking... I put it in the same category that I probably would, like some of the Assassin's Creed games, you know? Yeah, it's cool, but some of them are kind of lame, you know? Some of them are kind of boring. And yeah, they're a great game, far better than Mario, but some of them, in my opinion, are kind of lame. Like, I did not like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You know, I played Assassin's Creed, okay. I sent you a party invite, well. Did you? Oh, you did.
I don't think so.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't get notifications when I stream. For whatever reason. I don't know if it's, I think it's my settings. Yeah, so you know, there was this post on Facebook and it had like Killzone 3 and it had the picture of like the new Metroid game or whatever. Yeah. And you know, I'm looking at the graphics and dude, the new Metroid game looks like shit. You know, it looks like a PS3, it looks like an old PS3 game. And so, you know, and I'm looking at a PS3 game that looks better than that. And I'm like, people are going to pay like, what, $80 now for something that looks like that? That's bullshit. And so, and I make that as a comment, and dude, so many Nintendo fuckboys start like rampaging in the comments and being like, video games aren't just about graphics. It's like, that has nothing, and I'm like, I couldn't agree more. Like, you know, I play PS1 games like Metal Gear Solid, you know, they look like shit, dude. Alright? They have these fucking, you know, they're very pixelated and, like, the faces aren't fully rendered, you know? But it doesn't mean that they're a shitty game, you know? Like, they just look like shit. It's okay for something to look like shit and still be cool, you know? So many people... You know, they shit on, like, the Fox Body Mustangs. I think the Fox Body Mustangs are cool. Why? Because they're fucking easy to make super fast. There is not a single drag strip in America, okay, where there's not a Fox Body Mustang eagerly waiting to fucking zip a Hemi. Well, here's the thing. Looks can be deceiving, I agree, but here's my problem, right? It's not the graphics themselves, it's the style of graphics, if that makes sense. The graphics nowadays are great. They're awesome. And that means it's a pretty cool game to play. Yeah, those are awesome. I, I mean, I would say let's look at the Dead Space remake, okay? Right? You know, like when I was playing the Dead Space remake when I was streaming it and stuff like that, the game looks beautiful. You know, like the fucking gears, the fucking smoke, the fucking rocks, the fucking dust. Everything has detailed textures. You know? And so that game looks great. That's a modern example of a good looking game. Same with like Resident Evil 4 and 3 and 2 remakes, respectively. They play awesome. They play amazing. But now here's an example of a bad looking game that's newer. Black Ops 6. You know, the graphics, you know, the gun reloading animations, like, yeah, they're very slick, but the game looks like shit. It's too damn colorful. It's too damn vibrant, you know? It's like, you know, I still think Black Ops 1 has really awesome graphics. I think they still hold up. So does Modern Warfare 2, especially like MW3. I'd say Call of Duty Ghost has excellent graphics, right? But it's not the best Call of Duty. I think it's underrated. I don't think it's as good as the other Call of Duties at the time, but it gets a lot of hate for no reason. Infinite Warfare? I would I would have to disagree, but that's because I did not like it, and it's not so much that I'm disagreeing with your opinion. I just simply don't like futuristic Call of Duties, man. Like I hated Advanced Warfare. I hated Advanced Warfare. I hated Infinite Warfare. I did not like Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. The only futuristic COD I did like, funny enough, was Black Ops 2. And I had this like really in-depth debate. I had this right, you know, everything was still boots to the ground. But you know, they did change a lot. You know, they added a lot of advanced attachments and kill streaks and perks and you know, tacticals and lethals. The game used the game used the game used the futuristic setting to enhance the gameplay, to make it play like no other COD of that time, which was kind of cool. Now, on a caveat, I don't like Black Ops 2 Zombies. And I'm going to take a lot of flack for that probably in my comment section or in just general conversations. But you see, I always preferred World at War and Black Ops 1. I'm a boomer when it comes to the zombies. But and here's my reasoning, right? Black Ops 2 just had such shitty maps. And I genuinely mean this. I did not like yeah, transit to me, it was okay, I like the idea. I love how ambitious Black Ops 2 was very ambitious. It was very ambitious. It wanted to do. Yeah, and it's part, and most of it's because of the console it was released on, like the PS3, could not handle zombie maps that big, you know, with the software and the limitations. So the problem was, huh? Mob of the Dead was excellent. I liked Mob of the Dead. I can. Well, it's not that I don't like the crew. I liked Buried and I liked Mob of the Dead, 2 DLC maps. what I did not like was transit, and I did not like how it split transit into 3 other mini maps. Because only one of those mini maps has a pack-a-punch, and that's town. Bus depot and farm do not have a pack-a-punch, meaning that you're not going to make it any higher than around 50 if you're lucky. If you get to because right, like, you might make it to around 50 if you're lucky, maybe 53, maybe 56, but once you get past 60, it's just, you have to constantly be buying new weapons because your weapons will run out of ammo before the round is over because you're taking so many shots to kill a single zombie. Yep, and because, you're in such a small space, you gotta remember, farm is a very tiny, very claustrophobic mini-map. It's a mini-map, you know what I mean? There's no doors to buy. Right, and, like, there's no traps or nothing. Like, if they had some sort of traps or something like that, maybe, because then, of course, you have a way to at least kill high-round zombies at least a little bit, but the amount of flanks, the amount of places where you get cut off, you're not going to make it much past round 50. Like I said, you might make it to round 60 if you're like a god tier player, but really, what's the point? Because it's not like you're going to make it much further, before you end up having to die. And that's time wasted. Now, the issue that I have with transit mostly is it's not single player friendly. Like, if you've ever played transit solo, you know that, like, the bus goes every round or 2 rounds, and so if you're trying to do pack-a-punch, you can't do the Easter egg by yourself. To do pack-a-punch, you gotta place down the stupid wind turbine at the specific spot, and then go to the bank, go underneath it, build the pack-a-punch, and then pack-a-punch your weapon, and hope that your turbine does not break, because then you have to go pick up another one, replace it down, and go through the same annoying process again and again and again and again. And it's just, Shadows of Evil, okay, as a map, to me, I did not like Shadows of Evil, but it was better. But I will say this, I rank it better than Transit, 110%, because here's the thing, you can do a lot of things solo, and the map does not penalize you for it. But the thing is, I just did not like the pacing, the map structure, because it's structured like it's like a large Shinonuma, right? You know how Shinonuma has like the main area and that has its 3 sub areas, like I think Shinonuma actually has, it's 3. There's the doctor's quarters, the comms room, and the fishing hut, right? Oh, it's doctor's quarters, so it's 4. So Shadows of Evil, so it's like 4 sub areas, and it's connected by that main area in the middle. The only real difference between Shadows of Evil and like that map structure, like Kino to me is like a larger Verrückt, If you think about how Verrückt is structured, it's very symmetrical. Kino's very symmetrical. There's right or left, and then all they really add is a middle lane and a pack-a-punch, If you really think about it. But the thing is, like, Kino is a high-ranked map, and it's very simple. It's not a very difficult map. It's not structured in some weird way. It's simple. It's like, round 4 is where shit really starts getting real. You could pack-a-punch at round 4 to round 5 solo if you're really good. In Black Ops 3, I mean, at least they have the Chronicles, which is the best DLC in all of Zombies. I'm going to say that right now, the best DLC. Not only that, but you get a lot of content for a decent price, and it's Yep. Now, I'll say this much, right? I did not like a majority of the Black Ops 3 maps. I thought, what's it called? The first map they released, what was, Der Riesendrache? I think that... yeah. Well, the Giant, to me, was obviously going to be a great map because it's Der Ries. Yeah, exactly. It's a very cheap pre-order map where you get it with the Seasons Pass. It's cheap if you buy it solo. I think it was like, what, $5? But it's Der Ries. And guess what? Der Ries is just a goated zombies map, and to see it redone was kind of cool. that to me was really cool. But you know, obviously, you know, it was not perfect, but it didn't have to be. It was only $5, so I don't care. Great, perfect DLC, best purchase you can make. Um, to just yeah, I'll cut into that, you know, because my conversations don't have to be strictly like one thing because I feel like the more you focus and hone in on one topic point, yeah, how many points really are there to buying a gaming PC over a console and vice versa? What are the real advantages and disadvantages? Right? So it's like the conversation can go on, sure, but it's like we're just going to end up repeating the same points at some point in time. It will get old. You know, and like I said, you know, there are some advantages because, you know, gaming PC is just like a regular PC with gaming capabilities, you know? Yes. Well, some gaming PCs will crash the fuck out if you try to like play certain games. Right? Well, here's the thing, right? If I get a PlayStation 5, I'm entitled to about a I'd say around like about an 8-year console lifespan, right? I think that's usually that's what I've heard. How long has it been since the PS5's been out? How long was the PS4's lifespan? Right? Um, what do you call it? The um, the PS6. I think it'll probably take about another 3, 4 more years. I believe it or not, I actually support the tariffs. Oh yeah. Well, it's gonna hurt certain provinces and certain countries, certain states, but in the long run, we can't keep buying from China. You know. Right. I think the political thing is like when it comes to like buying Chinese made products and stuff, a lot of them are made in sweatshops and that's ultimately why they're so cheap. Is they're made because they don't pay the workers hardly shit. The factories have so many OSHA violations, human rights violations, workers' rights violations. And on top of that, you know, all those businesses kick up massive sums to the Chinese Communist Party. So the only reason that China is a real world threat is because we buy their products. We have essentially funded our adversary. The United States has funded China. However, I think that if we look at our other options, because we have other options, you know. Yep, there's Taiwan, but you know, I think we can go with like South Korea, you know. Like The Nissan? Nexon? No. What? Yeah, no, and the whole thing with Nintendo that I'm so against Nintendo with what they've pulled here is that like their consoles overpriced, their games are shit. They have no decent IPs. Okay? Like what do you got like well like I mean, like have you played Dark Souls on the Nintendo Switch? Have you played BioShock on the Switch? It's like the quality of the ports are ass. I don't really like Mario. I don't like Pokemon. I mean I like playing the card game and stuff like that, the anime, but and I like playing the old. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate Nintendo. I like the GameCube. Hell, I like the DS and the Game Boy. You know. I really just don't like the Switch, and I tell you what, I will revoke it. I will go out and buy a Switch to see what it's all about, to experience it. But I'm not. But I've always found myself when it comes to like the portable consoles, I've always found myself more keen to playing something like a PSP or a PS Vita. And, I've heard rumor and speculation that Sony is going to be releasing something similar to compete with the Switch, and I would probably more, huh? What is it called? Oh. Oh, I thought you were meaning like a whole nother console. Because here's the thing, I have no like PlayStation is my particular brand that I like to that I prefer. Now, right. And, you know, like I said, I have nothing against old Nintendo, you know, like, hell, if it were up to me, I'd have my library of Nintendo games for my DS, my Game Boy, my NES, the fucking, you know, the GameCube. 'Cause those are all great games, you know. The Sega Dreamcast is great. It's not Nintendo, it's Sega, but, you know. Yep. But it used to not be like that, though. And Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis was a massive part of my childhood. Was a massive part of my childhood. Because I had a Sega Genesis and a PS2. Those are my, or yeah, PS2, and we had a PS1. And you know, the Sega, we got rid of the Genesis, gave it to one of my little cousins. I got a Sega Dreamcast, which is like the GameCube equivalent of a Sega. Okay, he lagged out. I did not lag out. But then, you know, as I, you know, started going to school, you know, and I wasn't at home as much, I wanted to bring my games with me. And so, a large part of that was PSP and, quite frankly, the Nintendo Game Boy. Now, granted, the PSP had a lot of really good games, but there was just something to the simplicity of a Nintendo Game Boy lasted a little bit longer on the charge. You know, like the game. You know, the games are more portable. You know, because they weren't on little discs; they were in these little cartridges. I can carry a lot more of them. So. Ah. But you know, I mean, like in the long run, you know, I don't hate Nintendo. Hell, I would even consider buying a GameCube and going out and buying. Okay, I'm back. So, I was just saying, I was announcing that I'm not opposed to going out and buying a GameCube. Yep. Well, yeah, the PS1 Classics. Yeah, I was gonna buy one of those because they have certain games on there that are kind of cool. Eh,
Gotcha.
right. Well, here's my whole thesis of what I'm probably gonna end up doing is I'm probably going to get an actual GameCube and actually start recollecting GameCube games and shit, you know? Yep. Oh no, I'm just getting a regular GameCube. It's not going to be anything too special. Yeah, I'm not getting the really fancy Nancy ones. I just, because I don't care about Nintendo that much, you know? I probably want... right? Well, it wouldn't be giving Nintendo my money. It would be to like aftermarket sales, like, you know, small stores, because those are old consoles. You know, you can't buy a new one. You can buy a new. You're telling me that you can buy a new Nintendo Switch, or not Nintendo Switch, a Nintendo GameCube? Yeah, and if it's factory sealed, you know they're going to be charging like 10,000 for it. But PSA 10 Charizard. Charizard edition. You're gonna pay 20 grand. Exactly, the console's holographic. Yep, and in a custom Squirtle and Charizard controller. Yeah, I don't really like the GameCube controllers though. I can't lie to you. But yeah, I think I might get a DS and get it.
Stop.
How? What? Well, I'm just getting a regular, like Gen 1 or like DSXL or something, you know? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I figured I might buy an actual Game Boy separately. You know?
Stay put.
Well, see, I prefer to collect physically because that's part of what I do. I collect games. So I'm probably going to end up trying to get GoldenEye. I'm going to probably try to get Luigi's Mansion, some Super Smash Bros. Well, I'm just getting a regular DS, but I mean like GameCube games and shit like that. You know, getting the physical games. 'Cause that's what I did with my PS2. You know, I bought a PS2 and I started buying a bunch of like physical stuff. I started. It was a way for me to get out, go out into the world and search for games. Like I would quest myself. I had actual quests to do in IRL to go find games.
Keep going, Bloodshot. That demonic thing will rue the goddamn day it messed with us. We're gonna make the Firehawk choke to death.
Cause you see,
PC.
I've made up my mind that I'm going to be getting like an Xbox of some kind. Probably last gen Xboxes, just so I can. Well, here's the thing. I want to go back and get like the OG Halo games in like the physical copies to add to my collection. Yep. Well, right. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm gonna get like a more modern Xbox.
Gotcha.
'Cause Yep. Or you could just pirate stuff, unfortunately.
As I see the aftermath of the Firehawk's war on the Bloods,
Oh, because pirating is wrong. Like, ethically, it's wrong.
Firehawk is everywhere. The Firehawk is a god of justice, a god of vengeance and rage and hate and death and beauty. It watches us from on high and it punishes the wicked. Because men honor it.
See, they try to do that shit with the crew, and that pisses the entire community off because people paid real money.
Worship the Firehawk.
Yep. The only time that I see piracy as being semi-acceptable is in the case of, like, Silent Hill 2. Um, you know, Silent Hill 2 physically costed me. Guess how much money it physically costed me. It cost me like in real life I paid $75 for the game. That was a really good find in good condition. On the internet, on the internet, on the internet, you ready to hear what the eBay on eBay I've seen them listed as high as $200 to $300 just for the game. Now, an interesting fact is that I've seen a PC copy of Silent Hill 2 physical, complete in the box. Because I have the physical PC copies for Half-Life games, Half-Life 1 Platinum Edition, and Half-Life 2 Platinum Edition. Physical copies, every single disc, everything, the instruction manual, everything. Complete. But the thing with modern PCs is you have to buy a separate disk drive just to be able to read discs. So if I was to start a decent... no, there was no Steam code. And besides, this... Believe it or not, here's an interesting story about how I got these games. Do you want to hear the story about how I got them? I got them the same day. So my cousin, AJ, my favorite cousin in the whole world, okay? He buys this house. Alright, he's an older cousin. He buys this house, and we're going through it. It's a new house. And in the basement, this motherfucker finds this, like, tote of old games and stuff like that. Like, we found some old Diablo PC copies, like Doom, Quake, Unreal Tournament. We're talking, like, the games. And And so my cousin told me I could pick two, and so I picked the Half-Life ones, and he sold the rest on eBay. I made a decent. He made himself a decent little fortune, but yep. Well, here's the thing, and I don't plan on ever selling them. You know,
Let me explain something.
because for me those are special because they were sort of like gifted to me for free. I didn't pay a dime for them. You know. And secondly, you know, my cousin gifted me, my favorite cousin. Thirdly, it's fucking Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 1. You know, like, I'm not going to find these things as easily, you know what I mean? In the condition I found them. So, you know, my best other bet is to just simply continue collecting, because that's what I like to do. Gaming to me is just awesome, because it's like, I love these games, I love playing them, I'm enthusiastic. Right? Like, I like physically collecting because I miss growing up as a kid having a shitload of games on my shelf. And honestly, man, like, I'm gonna be honest, man, we're seeing a good renaissance of games, you know? Like, my favorite game got remade, Silent Hill 2, you know? And that's the whole reason I bought a PS5. You know, for a long time, I needed someone to sell me on the idea of a PS5. Someone said a long time ago, I remember it clearly, it was, I think, Astro. Told me that, like, well, the new games are going to be on the console, and I thought to myself, you know, it's Astro. What does he know? You know what I mean? Like, what does he know that I don't know? You see what I mean? And so, you know, the Dead Space remake, and I'm like, dude, I really want to play that game, but I didn't want to play it that bad to where I'd want to buy it. It didn't justify buying a whole console over it. Well, fucking Konami comes out of nowhere and releases that they're going to be remaking Silent Hill 2, one of my favorite games of all time. Me being the massive Silent Hill PlayStation super nerd that I am, this is like the holy day, bro. Like, this is like the ultimate deluxe thing that could have ever happened. And so, bada bing, new Silent Hill merch that I bought. I have a light up Silent Hill sign. I have the Silent Hill 2 limited edition headset. Unfortunately, I did not keep it factory sealed. I'm going to go back and buy another one. I'm keeping it factory sealed. I'm going to go get it PSA rated. I'm buying another cop. Like, you know, and that too, like there are other games that are being released that are really fucking good. Black Ops 6 drops. I buy the game because it's like, okay, someone sold me on the idea. They're like, Treyarch has taken a long time to make this game. You know, they're not going to fuck up. It's going to be better than Cold War, you know? And then I'm like, okay, alright. And they're like, listen, the campaign's going to be really long. It's going to be this really cool story, probably. And it's like, listen, it's going to be awesome. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll try it. I fucking play the campaign. They have zombies in campaign like Black Ops 3. And I don't fucking like that. I didn't like that in Black Ops 3. I didn't like it in this. I didn't... Yep, in Black Ops 3 there's a story mission where you fucking fight zombies. Nope. Nope. Not the nightmare mode in the main canon campaign. Look it up. There's a fucking... I'm telling you, bro. I promise you. Do you trust me? Okay. Look up Black Ops 3 Zombies mission. Campaign mission. You fight the zombies... You fight these zombies in Samantha's house. You know, the house at the end of Origins. You fight them in this house. And it's even a multiplayer map. Zombies mission, yep. Yep. That sounds about right.
The sound of those earthquakes marks my drills getting closer
Well, just keep watching through it, man.
So,
Just keep watching.
what are you doing? The bandits call me the Fire. My name's Lily. I'm with the Raiders.
He's taking down Jack. Anyway, long story, lots of internal bleeding. Could you help me out?
Oh no, it's. I think that's just the nightmares mode. Hold on. There's an actual mission where you're in this house and you have to fight zombies. I think Yep, I think so. There was a campaign mission where you fight this boss or whatever. They explain some shit, and then suddenly I don't remember, but I vividly remember being in this house and it was like round based. I think it went up to like 5 rounds. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, you know you're fighting zombies. I wasn't bullshitting.
Now, talk later.
So you know like it's been done before. See what I'm saying? Now to that extent that BO6 was doing it. I mean, yeah, it was released in October, but they had fucking mannequin spider walking like the shit was Silent Hill, and it's just like, come on now, you know?
Thanks. Guess you're looking for Roland, huh? He's not here.
Oh yeah, I know, man. I played the original Oblivion. It was a really good game. I hope that they remake Moreland or remaster Moreland the same way.
Now the real fun begins.
I'll see if I can't save them.
Yeah.
Enough.
Now here's what I want: a new Fallout game. Well, I mean, I'm talking Fallout in Chicago or New York. Well, see, now they would make it a different story. It would have its own separate history. I say don't avoid it. I say embrace it because you know what? As an American, 9/11 had a serious impact on my childhood. You know, I was born in 2002. I was born just a year after 9/11. So I was born in the post 9/11 America, which was over influxed with patriotism. Like every commercial had like soldiers and tanks and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like the war in Iraq. You know, like 9/11 was a massive part of my childhood. You know, in school in school they had every year, obviously every year to date, they would lower the flags to half mast. We would say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'd have a moment of silence before eating at lunch. Like it was a massive fucking thing, man. And I respect that. You know why? Because it's called fucking respect. You know? And, you know, like 9/11 was a massive part of our American culture, you know? Because like the planes changed, TSA security got much more strict. Importation laws, like security, as a security guard, CT Pat. Huh? Oh, yeah, fuck them. I don't care. I don't make no money from this. I have no monetization. Really? But I don't get paid for them? Really, YouTube? Yeah, they can kiss my ass. Half my streams have been taken down for whatever reason.
Since the vault opened, my siren powers have been getting a little...
Yeah, I mean,
Let's talk about rescuing my boyfriend.
I don't hold my opinions back. I'm very honest. You know, I'm very easy to read. I don't hide how I feel.
Well, before the blood clot.
It's a Capcom series. It's alright. Yeah, I feel like you could pick up a Monster Hunter game and just enjoy them for what they are. You know, like you don't have to buy all of them. Ah,
Denied. Still getting used to this. Reminds me though, Bloodshot Stronghold is full of real tough customers. Might want to train a bit before you take them on. You're doing good out there, by the way. Keep it up.
see, I had a friend a long time ago, Trent, who wanted me to play Monster Hunter World, and I literally told him straight up, you know, it's not really my jam. It's not really the kind of games I like. But it doesn't mean I don't like the game. It just doesn't mean it's. I had no idea that Telltale Games is still a thing. It was made by Gearbox. I'm not necessarily against it. I think I haven't played it, so I have no idea. You know, like I heard that we're getting a Borderlands 4.
Want to get a vehicle to soak up some bullets for you.
You know, and here's my question for you: should I get the game? Should I like get it new? Should I stream it?
Goodbye.
Because I skipped out on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I didn't see the point of that game. To me, like, isn't it can you explain to me what it really is? Is it different than the DLC, or is it literally? So I never played Borderlands 3's DLCs. Like honestly, I feel like going back and replaying Borderlands 3. And like man, I'm about to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to start a new what's it called? Discord. Because I cannot I have been trying and trying and trying to sign back into my old one, and I guess I'm permanently signed out. I don't know. So if I make another account, I'm gonna try to let you know, and I want to get Slayer back in on it, and really start to add it to my streams, start to add it to everything. I've been on Facebook and Instagram, so I have social medias, Um,
open the gate.
and that really sucks that we lost our server, but and honestly, man, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. You know, but being brutally honest with you, man, I genuinely think that we should have like group chats about specific games. Like, I like survival horror games, but I also like and so yeah, it's something I want to sit down and really thoroughly think through. And I think I am going to eventually invest in a cheap gaming PC. Just one strong enough for me to run Half-Life, run Left 4 Dead. Yeah, like the games I'm planning on getting are not games that are very high, like high output. Any games, like any advanced games? Let me think on that, okay? Because I have to really think on it. Because see, I'll tell you the games I'm planning on probably playing. Okay. We have Half-Life, Team Fortress 2, probably. All right. I'm probably also going to be running Call of Duty Black Ops. I'll be running Fallout 3 in New Vegas, and probably Fallout, the first two Fallout games, the Interplay Fallout games. I'll probably also be running a few rare survival horror games, like PS2 era, and I might be running Pokemon games. And that's about it. And so, obviously, with the Master Chief Collection coming to PlayStation, I will completely be doing an entire series of Halo. The Master Chief Collection it hasn't been released yet on PlayStation. Has it? Because I think it's coming out next year. And so not the campaign, just the multiplayer. Wait, it's already so are you saying it's already on the PlayStation? Okay. Oh. Uh, yep. So, again, I'm probably not going to be running any like high frequency games, just a few rare games that are just. And so, like, the next apartment I'm getting is going to be a 2-bedroom apartment, so I'm going to have more space to, work with. Honestly, I probably also run like games, like oh. No, I was thinking more like Quake and like Unreal Tournament. And so I'm planning on just shelving my two PlayStation 4s.
When I had the chance.
Sorry! What was that? We got the breaker! That was awesome.
I'd probably just cash app you enough to get you a PlayStation 5.
Howdy! I didn't say Sarah.
I'll see what I can do. Right, but it does net you a way to play video games with me and Slayer. I guess, but I'll be brutally honest with like Borderlands 2. Like I'm so easily bored of this game. I finally have gotten bored of Borderlands. It's not that it's a bad game, it's just that like holy shit, man, I've put like over 2000. I'm on like OP10 with like 0 and stuff. Well, when I transferred my character over, it told me that I was only OP5, and so I'm actually going to go back to 0 and start regrinding my OP levels. So what is a Steam Deck? Is it an actual PC or is it an so do I plug that into my laptop or is it its own separate? Okay. 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 Now here's the thing, right? Because I don't think you can easily get Silent Hill 2 or anything uh, right, but even Steam, I don't even think you can get Silent Hill 2. The OG. OP level 6. For PS2, yeah, not for PC. Yeah, it'd be released I think in 2001 or 2002. Yeah, well, they probably never did. It's very rare. Like, when I say it's rare, I genuinely mean like it's very rare. Um, but yeah. I really liked my PS3 setup because I was able to stream. Were you able to watch any of my PS3 streams? No, you met me on the PS4. But I think you've seen a few of my. I think you watched me stream Fallout 3. Yeah, I streamed a lot of BO1. I want them to remaster Black Ops 1. You don't think so? Some people say they plan on releasing BO2 remastered, but if they do that, why not just do Black Ops 1 as well? Oh, you mean Konami? Hmm. Sweet. You know what's crazy about me, man? I am such an elite gamer. You know I have a Konami card. Yeah. Back in the day, to play Yu-Gi-Oh at a tournament, you needed a Konami card. I'm an OG. Yeah, they switched the system to where it's all online now. But I'm a Konami card carrying member. So that means that all I have to do is show them my Konami card if I want to enter a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Which I haven't given up on Yu-Gi-Oh yet. I don't like Pokemon enough to play it. I like it enough to collect it. But I like to play their games, and I like their anime. You should play it, man. It probably isn't, but you should still play it. You should at least beat the game once. That's all I'll say.
Here you are, more things to shoot.
I always tell everybody that I'm friends with to at least play Silent Hill 2 at least once. Beat the game at... The OG one is a little bit harder than Silent Hill 2, but I recommend to play Silent. Oh, is it hard to come by? Damn. Nah. I'll look into it further myself.
Scorch is a fire ant. I'm attempting to learn how.
Yeah.
I find myself bored. Maybe you should find several of these.
Yep. Do me one favor, actually. There's one big concern that I have. Is it possible that Rule of Rose is actually on, like, are you able to pirate Rule of Rose? Is that even possible? Yeah, is that even possible? PS2.
This gauntlet, you will become a god. In a manner of speaking. You will possess the ability to control the strength of your enemies and wield otherwise impossible to equip gear.
No, I was just asking if it was possible to get it. Like, that's like,
Update on Dukino himself. Crazy Earl will resume his attempts to domesticate him once Dukino keeps his arm back up.
damn.
Actually, let's make things interesting.
Do me another favor real quick. Go on eBay and then look up Rule of Rose and see how much a physical copy costs.
Children fall down and hurt themselves.
I just want to track this, because you're telling me that you can get it for free, but I'm just curious as to how much the actual game would cost. Yeah, I figured about as much. Probably not that many. Ooh, I could probably get PT. Dude, that'd be sick. Damn. That's rare. Ah. From the UK, but was it a European copy of the game or was it an English copy? Because okay. So I was gonna say I couldn't play that in the US because my console's region locked.
Vault Hunter, this is priority 1. I need you to disarm a series of camouflaged explosives hidden in the combat garden.
Damn. They did not know what they were selling. Yep, I understand that. Yeah, cause see, when I add that to my video game collection, I can truly say I've spent a lot of money on games. Okay. Probably $300. Well, hey, you can't lie. I was in the ballpark. Yeah, it's a very rare game.
Unfortunately, you failed to defeat my gauntlet. Fortunately,
Wait, you have Ruler Rose?
unfortunately, life is often unfair and you may never
Oh,
succeed.
about the same, man.
Pizza exists.
That game, like I said, that's not a game that I would recommend you get into. That's something that you'd have to get into on your own. It was probably Okami. It looks pretty similar. Dude, that sucks. Um, well, Rule of Rose is not necessarily my favorite, but I really like it. It's a great game. It's very sad what happened in that game and why it cost so much. I would say Haunting Grounds. Haunting Ground, by Capcom. Yep. There's a lot of Silent Hill games. Maybe. So I think the director's cut would have what do you call it, Maria scenario, Born from a Wish. Really? Hmm. I wonder what. Yeah, because you know, like they have a lot of beta games actually that you can play on the PC because like backwards, like you know, it was released somehow, and so they've backed up the data or whatever, and so it's like. And that is the only game you'd probably ever hear me like recommend that's like really like it is outdated. It has tank controls. It's like Resident Evil, but if you if you ignore that and play it and really enjoy like just like take into account like the cutscenes, because that game has just such a different way of telling a story, and I think it is one of the best horror games, best survival horror games, one of the best story games, one of the best, a lot of things. And there's a reason that the Silent Hill community basically hold it in regards as one of the best games ever made. So. Probably. Probably not.
Set out. Target killed.
But yeah. I have to pay to be able to play online. Oh. I have Infinite PlayStation Plus. So, well, it's not truly infinite, but I basically bought like 4 or 5 years worth of PlayStation Plus, and I bought 2 years consecutively once a year. So I have like 10 years worth of PlayStation Plus on this account. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, I bought the years, and honestly, like I'm at the stage where I quit buying them because I have like 11 years with a PS Plus. Like I haven't paid for PlayStation Plus actually in the last 2 years, so and I have many more I can go, you know. But I really hope that Sony just comes out and makes PlayStation Plus free again for everybody. Even even like you know, because here's the thing, right? PlayStation Plus, the value, it's like you're getting GameStop or Game Pass along with the innate privileges of playing online and getting 2 free games you can get each month and all the other crap that comes with it. And PlayStation Plus is tied to like streaming stuff, to where like you can get free like months of streaming on like other like streaming apps. So, I mean, like there's some value tied to it. Um, is it as good as some of the other options? You know, that's very debatable. I don't think it's as great as say what Game Pass has done. And that's a subjective opinion, but yeah, at the end of the day, I still think that the value is pretty good. I still appreciate what Sony has done and what the other companies have done, and all around, you know, it's just it sucks because you know the PS3, what was so awesome about it was you could just sort of log on and play, you know, where Xbox you used to have to pay monthly. It seems that the tables have flipped. Yep. Yep. Well, no, I'm getting Gatorade. Oh, yeah, no, so I have a large, what do you call that? Like a cooler, like a water cooler that has one of the, it's a Gatorade water cooler, and there's like this little button, you press it, it releases the contents inside of the cooler. And so what I did is I filled it up with water, and I took one of these like Gatorade tubs, like these massive, the biggest tub that they offer, which can make up to 6 gallons of Gatorade. And I made me some Gatorade out of it, and I've been just drinking out of it and refilling the ice. My life is doing pretty okay. Like, yeah, like, I mean, right now it's like, the male loneliness epidemic. You know what I'm talking about. Right? And a lot of guys have. It's not just me, it's not just you, but the issue is that just like the dating standards and other crap like that have just gotten so bad to where like I'm just tired of being alone. And like here's the thing that irritated me. Like, you're still really young. I'm an adult. I live on my own. It's crazy to me that homeless people can find people and get into a relationship, yet not having a home. I have a home. I'm not doing too bad. Like I've done a lot of great things. I'm a decent guy. Like I am by no means hard to deal with. Like I don't have a lot of. Hmm. I'm 22. Okay. So yeah. So I mean, still though, right? Like you're still pretty young. 4 years doesn't seem like a whole lot, but let me explain this. I was 18 4 years ago. Right? And so like that's a big chunk, right? Because that's almost half a decade. Decade's 10 years. 5 years is half a decade. I'll be 23 this August. 4 and 5, if you just treat them like they're the same, which they kind of are, you know? Because at the end of that fourth year, it's going to be 5 years, And it goes by quick. It does. I no longer live in my mom's house. I live in my own apartment. Oh. Why is that? College in general is just a fucking nightmare by today's standards. I think healthcare in general sucks. Like, even with insurance, to eat. Right, but the only reason that they have that health care is because America contributes a lot of money to NATO, and also because like their taxes, they pay it with their taxes. because that's just they would raise our tax rates to ridiculous amounts. More than like here's the thing, right? Right, but if we don't do that, then we're no longer the dominant military power on the world board. And if that's the case, then what does the United States have? You know, we're the only country in the whole world that can end an entire nation in 24 hours. If we if Right, but you know we're seeing how this Ukraine war is turning out, and it's not. And to be fair, I don't believe for a second that the guys fighting over there that claim to be Russian are actually Russian. I think they're actually Wagner Group mercenaries. If I'm being brutally honest, like I don't buy it for a second that Russia's actually fighting that war. It's gone on like for what, like 3 years now? 3 or 4 years? It's been going on for a little while. So it's like, yeah. Yep. We're gonna end the war. That's what a lot of people say, but again, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, the United States holds the cards. Ukraine doesn't have a say in anything. It doesn't matter if, say, Russia's the bad guy or the good guy, because it really is irrelevant. What is relevant is the United States has all the purchasing power because we spend so much on our military. Yep. Yep. Inflation, my friend. So you're against Trump. Yeah. I gotta be honest with you. You have to live in America to really receive the full benefits of him being a president. That's just the reality. Yeah. Well, I can't lie. With Joe Biden being president for 4 years, a lot of dumb stuff has happened. Like a lot of bad stuff has happened. For instance, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, 13 Marines were killed. The Taliban got military equipment that was U.S. owned. Just a bad picture in general to evacuate soldiers before evacuating people and extracting the equipment. And to top every... Yeah, pretty much. Because, you know, politics don't have to dictate a friendship or a relationship or anything like that. It's just that the issue is people don't know how to respect other people's opinions. So, right, like if I was screaming down your face or yelling at you, which, you know, I'm not doing that. You know, people in general, you know, like for instance, I was having this debate with a person that at my job because they're very anti-Trump and you know they're very pro-Democratic Party. Their solution is to increase our taxes. So where I draw the line is this, okay? We are taxed when we make money. We are taxed when we spend money. We're taxed when we win money, either at the lottery or like we're taxed when we die. We're taxed when we buy a house. We're taxed when we buy a car. You know, we get city tax. Exactly. Like you have to when you sell stuff, you have to pay a tax, and on top of that, to conduct business, you have to go through various fine. There are various fines. Which a fine is what's a fine? What's a parking ticket? You know, what's a speed ticket? It's tax designed by local governments. Well, for the rich, yes, they can get away with pretty much anything because they have the money to get to basically pay the fines. If a rich person commits like something that's like a felony, like tax evasion, okay? Because hear me out, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I'm not trying to be a smartass when I say this, but rich people are not the way that the Democrats play them out to be. Because rich people, if they get caught with tax evasion, they don't pay their taxes on stocks that they have sold or properties that they have sold or the proper income from businesses that they've made or did or whatever. They're not getting away with that because most of them fucking don't. Now, a lot of them can because there are legal loopholes. The same legal loopholes that the Democratic Party gets away with. Because you have to also remember this. The Democrats, on a lot of them, and some Republicans, too, they have voted on their own raises. They make over six figures a year. The reason that I'm a Republican, pure and simple, is like the Democrats think that they can feed the poor and house the poor, and I'm all for that. I think that there needs to be some government assistance for certain people in certain percentiles that make a certain amount of money. I don't. It doesn't matter the race. Does not matter the sex. Does not matter if you're a man or a woman. Does not matter if you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic. Does not matter. What matters is how much money they make. Right. That should be the only determining factor of if somebody should get government support. And so when we look at the way that welfare works, the welfare system in general is a scam. It needs to be reworked. The problem is actually changing it. Because here's the thing, right? Like I just said, they tax us on everything. Like, you know, we're talking millions of taxpayer dollars wasted yearly on nothing. So here's the thing, right? To fund a government healthcare system, how much do you think, like, here's the thing, most jobs in America offer healthcare plans. There are actual laws in America that if you work full time, you qualify for healthcare plans. Yep, but still, like, you know, like many companies offer it. There are many government assistance programs that help out with healthcare. But still, like, it's not impossible. And I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. You know, I am not against the government money being spent to feed kids that can't afford lunches. I'm not against any of that. You know, but what I am against is like full scale government healthcare funded. I just see that as being massively ridiculous. Because what we're going to do eventually, in my opinion, is we're going to drive up the price of medicine and other stuff. If everybody has free healthcare, then the only people not really making any profit from medical anything are either the big companies, like pharmaceutical companies, and that's fine, they don't really need to make a lot of money, or it's going to come at the cost of nurses and doctors. Which again, they make livable wages, but it's like the whole way that would come out to is the hospitals are privately owned. They're not government owned. You know what I mean? So if you're going to raise the tax rates on higher income brackets, which are going to mostly be like surgeons, lawyers, doctors, that kind of stuff, you know, you're going to raise the tax rates to pay for it so that everyone's paying for their own healthcare through their taxes. Now, hospitals will be over and fluxed with a bunch of people. a lot more people are going to take advantage of some of the perks of that, and they're going to and there's going to be loopholes that will be abused. Because can it be abused? Sure. If it's paid through our taxes, what happens if an illegal immigrant? Huh? Yeah. Like, oh, illegal immigrant? No, no, you're good. Like, I couldn't just illegal. Like, what would happen if I just walked into North Korea? I jumped the North Korean fence. What's going to happen to me? All right. But still, what's going to happen to me if I go to, say, France? E Nope. If I go there, I go there without proper travel papers and passports. I go there without any legal documentation. Should I be penalized for doing that? Okay. So if people come into a so if people so okay, hold on. So if people come into the United States without the proper documentation and paperwork and without being vetted, should they be punished? More than most likely. Now I get it, okay? I think that so we have a system in place, right? They can legally seek asylum, okay? If there's a genuine situation where a Mexican immigrant has illegally jumped, right? But again, if there's a massive and Mexico has a massive cartel problem. They do. Everybody knows this. So if it so again, case by case, if they did it unethically, meaning there was nothing, meaning that there was like nothing wrong with him being there, like if like he well again laws can change, like if it yeah, they have a lot less restriction now. But again, I genuinely think though that like again, if he was an illegal immigrant that had sought asylum, he shouldn't have been in the country again to begin with. Again, I'm not against immigration. Okay, the United States is founded upon immigration. And to be honest with you, yes, I do agree that when Christopher Columbus came here, they did not do it the legal way. But the only issue is that at that point in time, in like 1706, or because our country became a country in 1776, right? When we officially fought the British and became our own country, right? When we did this, when we originally the pilgrimage to America. America was not an established country. It was not a developed country. The Native Americans did not have a government body like the British had the Parliament, right? The Native Americans did not have that here. They did not have full control of their country. And what I mean by that is they had various tribes that would kill each other, right? And they had a lot like it was just divided. A lot of America was undiscovered. A lot of it was unconquered. A lot of it was wild forest. A lot of, like, it just was not developed. If that makes sense. Is that a fair assumption? Okay. So when the Europeans came to the United States, look at every bit of progress that they made. Right? We brought a legal system. We established law and order nationwide. We established a government. We fought a tyrannical government. We gave the indigenous people preserves, with exclusive rights on those preserves. You know, like, and the thing about like the slavery argument, about like, it wasn't Europeans coming into Africa just stealing people. They weren't just snatching people, rounding them up. These people were already like captured by other African, tribes. Yeah, Columbus was an asshole, but yeah, that happens sometimes in history. Like Adolf Hitler was an asshole. We can all agree on that. Yeah. Right, but generally, when it comes to like mass murdering people, like, I think one of the worst instances of that was Joseph Stalin and like Genghis Khan, you know. And I would say, like when you look at African history in general, back in the day, today Zimbabwe used to be Rhodesia, and now look at it, not too good. And the other thing, when it comes to like, the whole slave trade, is, like I said, it's not just white people coming in there and stealing them. They purchased the slaves, meaning the slaves were. Wouldn't you agree that they were purchased? Now, is that humanity? Is that right? Is that okay? Is that acceptable? It's inhumane to treat a human life as property. That's my opinion. I think it's wrong. And so, you know, they shouldn't have, but in the first, they shouldn't have been, captured. They shouldn't have been put to be slaves. But even if you look at like Roman history, white people were also slaves, in the Colosseum. You know, the Jews were slaves throughout history. In Egypt. You know, so slavery has existed for a long time, and it's a sin. It's a bad thing. It's a horrible thing. And again, but at the time, and I'm not saying it's okay, but it was a common practice. So, I think that in America and like the rest of the developed world, we've just created these narratives, right, that are politically motivated, and it's like we've taken away the ability to have the conversations because people either they get offended or like, there's a lot of censorship. I think it's just crazy to me, um, that just like, like I couldn't just like go into Russia, or I couldn't just go into Germany. I couldn't just go into China illegally because I'd get captured and I'd get sent back to the United States and I'd be fined and penalized and I'd get banned from that country. You know? Well, if I go to India and I kill a cow and I just start munching down on that motherfucker, I'm getting banned. Alright, guys. I'm gonna go have me a sacred cow barbecue. Yeah. I'm bo- Oh no, I'm taking apart this shotgun and putting it back together. But but yeah, no, I think that, you know, like I'm against communism, and I'll be honest, I don't think capitalism works entirely. It doesn't, because certain people benefit and certain people don't. It's not an equal system. There's a class associated with it. Capitalism works for the most part. It's just there are just certain people that just don't benefit from it as much as they would say communism. But in communism, everybody is poor. You know, like we can't just like look to dictatorships in communist countries. You know, like the Soviet Union and like North Korea, or even like China. Like, you know, if you studied Chinese history, like the Great Leap Forward, you know, with the Chinese Communist Party, a lot of their people suffered. A lot of their people starved. A lot of their people didn't have proper housing. It's just it's a fucked system. And there are so many people that escape it. They come to America and they enjoy America. There is most millionaires that have been interviewed have come from literally nothing, and they become millionaires through investing and saving and properly spending. There's a lot of them that surprisingly are. A common thing now, there are certain like monopolies, like the Rockefeller was a monopoly, like, you know, Rockefeller Oil. I agree that like the Ford and the Chevy families, you know, like, yeah, they were born into richness, right? Um, but you know, like, it wasn't these same companies, right? Because we look at them like they're evil people, but you know, in World War II, these companies really stepped up and they employed a lot of people, and if it wasn't for them, then other people wouldn't have jobs. See what I'm saying? And like, for instance, like Elon Musk, in my opinion, is a prime example of like someone I don't like, I disagree with, but I respect. You know, because like, yeah, he makes these ugly electric cars, you know, but you know, it's like, I respect what he's trying to do. I just disagree with how he's doing it, because I don't think electric cars are the way of the future. I really don't. I just don't see the United States as having the proper infrastructure to support an EV, like, exclusive, like, everyone's mandated to drive an EV. You know, in my opinion, EVs are about the worst thing infrastructure wise the United States can do, because we can't compare countries like the UK to the United States. The United States is much bigger, and so most people in the UK travel via train or bus or bicycle, or they walk, you know, like, there's not a whole lot of cars in the UK, not when you compare it to the United States in terms of like population and how many people. Yep. So, like, yes, our American system is fucked in the way that like younger generations struggle. I struggle, you know, and I'm not rich by any means. I only make $35,000 a year. I netted 37,000 this past tax season. I almost made it to 40 grand, you know, but that's not a lot of money, you know. Not when you consider I pay $890 a month, right? That's like almost two PlayStation 5s a month to live in a one bedroom apartment, you know. And I have to pay my electric and my, you know, my internet and any other dues I might have, plus all the ammo when I go shooting, and I have to fill up my car with gas, and I have to buy food in my refrigerator. I'm doing it, man. It's hard. It's rough. It's not easy. You know, I do door dashing on the side. You know, I have other means of income. So, you know, it's just, if you put in the work, you know, this country rewards you. It's just that some people, yeah, pretty much. Um, You know, like I don't think America. Like there's a reason why so many people come to America. You know. You think so? Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking about stuff, life. It's it is, but I don't think the solution, and I'll be brutally honest with you, I think part of the reason that our economy has inflated so much, okay? And like I'm not trying, I don't aim to change your mind, you know. I respect that you have differing opinions because, you're a person. Yep. Yep, you've lived a completely separate life that I couldn't comprehend that, because no. The most I've gone without power was like maybe a week, right? But that should also tell you that like the country's infrastructure or the state's infrastructure. Is Puerto Rico a province of the United States? US territory? But the US has no jurisdiction in Puerto Rico, correct? So they do have some legal jurisdiction in Puerto Rico. Right. Right. But that's Puerto Rico though. Um, I think that I have never been to Puerto Rico. I know nothing about Puerto Rican culture. So 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 I'm very interested in how that transpires for you guys because because I live in the United States, so we live it, we live it and breathe it. You know what I mean? So everything that happens here, right? A lot of United States people, a lot of U.S. citizens I noticed have like done this thing, culture shaming and cancel culture, and I feel like it's just an excuse really for a much bigger Ponzi scheme. I think that in the grand scheme of everything, I understand that the world is controlled by elites and people in power in the government, but like Trump, I think part of the issue is like Trump, his first term, like he didn't have the House and the Senate. There's a lot of things he wanted to do but just couldn't do because the House and the Senate, you know, fighting Congress. What was the previous power in Puerto Rico prior to the United States? Spain. How was life under Spain? Oh, that's a long time. Well, how is it taught in Puerto Rico? Like when so can like so what's the process of somebody from the U.S. moving to Spain? Do they have to go through the same shit that? Okay. I'm gonna ask if it's the same process as if it were the other way around, or if there's like, okay, so like, okay, I got you. So it'd be like the different, like you'd change your address, you would just, you change your, what do you call that? The uh, driver's license or ID card would just say what state you're transitioning from to the one that you're moving to, and so. Okay, so it's the same process. So I could, technically speaking, if I wanted to, as a U.S. citizen, I could buy a house in Puerto Rico and have a dual and not need a dual citizenship for because okay. Well, see, because and I'll be brutally honest with you, like I would have no objections to buying a house, an extra house in Puerto Rico because it's like that'd be kind of cool, to just take vacation and go to a different area of the world to see a different culture. You know what I mean? And get far and far and far away from this fucking like crazy American like politically divided country. Because like it's so crazy because so many people get in their feelings when it comes to like politics. Um, but yeah, no, it's what it is. You know. How much does an average house in Puerto Rico cost? Oh yeah, atheist, agnostic. Ah, okay, so, okay, okay. So rather, you don't really. So if I'm getting this correctly, right, you don't really care about the actual in-depth aspect of like the religious teachings and beliefs that the Greeks offer. You like the mythology aspect of it, right? Gotcha. See, I'm a Christian, and like so when I read the Bible and here's something, because I know people that really get into the whole Greek mythology and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. But the Bible like speaks of various like creatures and stuff like that. That if you were to draw the comparisons to how the Greeks described them and how they're biblically described, it's very similar. Um, like the Bible teaches that like Egypt, like the pharaohs, were pre-established. You know what I mean? Like that whole leadership was already established. It does not say in the Bible when or where or how Egypt was built or by whom, other than the Egyptians had Jewish slaves, you know? And so the thing with Christianity and why it's as big of a religion as it is and it has many, many denominations is because a lot of, like, as an atheist, you acknowledge that Jesus existed. Well, no, well, what I'm asking is, do you believe that Jesus, the man, walked the earth and was crucified? Okay. Yep. Because I was gonna say, yeah, because the Romans documented that, the Jews documented that. Right. And so, you know, like the Bible describes, like when, especially like the Old Testament, when Moses parted the sea and they had walked across the sea and it had closed in on the Pharaoh and like a lot of his men. They have used like the new advanced technologies. They discovered the Egyptian chariots at the bottom of it, and it's like from where they found those chariots, they couldn't have gotten them there. You know what I mean? Any other way? You see what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't make sense why they're in the middle of the sea, land-based transportation. See what I'm saying? So sure. Oh, yeah, I know Defiance. You know, have you ever watched the TV show? Yeah, the Defiance is interesting. I played it back in the PS2 or not PS2, PS3. I think is when it was originally released. I didn't fully get into it though. Now, an interesting fact. I don't know if you know this or not, but like, do you study a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff? Okay. Do you think that Mars was nuked? Yeah, right. Scientists, nuclear weapons experts study that the actual Martian soil has Xeon 129 and Xeon 134 or 135. Those are radioactive isotopes that are only found when a nuclear bomb is detonated. We found them in Hiroshima, we found them in Nagasaki, we found them in the Nevada test sites and the New Mexico test sites. Only like nuclear weapons. And so, you know, Right, but the thing is, if it was a nuclear weapon, it would have had to detonate above the Martian like soil. It had to detonate not on impact, but it would detonate above the surface layer of Mars. Yeah, exactly. And so the thing about the Martian air and gravity and stuff is that, like, it's only 1% of Earth's atmosphere, which means their atmosphere got completely atomized, or it's eroded over time, which would also explain one major caveat with Mars, and it's the fact that it's a frozen desert. You know, like they have water on Mars right now. Like we've discovered it. Like it's frozen. It's in a polar ice cap. So ice is water that's frozen. And because their atmosphere does not hold the air, it cannot hold heat. Air can hold heat. That's why humidity exists. And other stuff. And so if we were to, and the common belief is if we found a way to melt the ice caps, or even introduce water, proper soil, plants, some light vegetation, it'll probably end up dying, but we can slowly terraform Mars to be more inhabitable. It's a very real possibility. It's not impossible. But, there's an entire planet out there, believe it or not, that actually rains diamonds. It's like, just like the wonders of the world. Not just our world, but just like the planets around us and the planets in far light years. So, oh man, it's already 8:42. For you guys. Unless my clock is behind. Let me go check my phone. I better go out and go get some food or do something. I really feel like going to bed. I'm skipping food and just going straight to bed. Let me look on. What should I get? Should I DoorDash? Oh shit, I got a phone call from my cousin AJ. Alright, man. Hey Broski. Are you gonna be on tomorrow? Okay. Well, I'll be on tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow. I haven't had a fucking dude. I haven't had a day off in like a fucking dude. I haven't had a day off in like 2 weeks. Yeah, tomorrow. I tell you what, man. I'm gonna download Borderlands 3. Are we able to play that? All right. Well. Okay. Yeah, we could play. I want to start a new playthrough on that game. Yeah, I need to go get the DLCs, but Not this payday, because I gotta pay rent, and that's like 890 fucking bucks, bro. Right. Right on. Well, damn. Real quick before I get off, what are Puerto Rico what are Puerto Rico's gun laws like? Okay. Yeah. How are the women in Puerto Rico? Are they cute? Huh? All right. I'll research it. Well, I'm trying to find like if I want to leave, like if I'm going to go on a vacation somewhere that's not like on the mainland of America, I want to go to a place that's that I'm able to be found. I couldn't go to Mexico. I'd have to go to like either Puerto Rico. Like I don't even want to go to Colombia, you know. Oh, Borderlands 4? No, I have not. I honestly I was about to really skip out on the game, but I don't want to. It's like that inner gamer inside of me. I could look it up real quick. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Okay, whoa. Yep. Okay, so it's gonna play exactly like Borderlands 3 pretty much.
Be advised, a citywide curfew has been enacted. Violators will be shot on sight.
Huh. Well, oh wait. Huh? How secure is my internet? Probably not the most secure in the universe. Uh. Oh, I think I'm at like 23 ping. I don't know actually. I don't think I have enough space for it. I'd have to delete some stuff. Okay. Well, honestly, I'm probably gonna delete Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty. Probably Call of Duty. It would have to be after 4 my time because I have to go drive. Right now it's like 8:50. 8:50, like 6. Okay. Ooh, Fallout 4. Ooh, cool. Grand Theft Auto PS4 version. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm currently playing. Castle Crashers, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal. Holy shit, dude, I have so many games. Right. Until Dawn, Rogue Company. Dude, I fucking platinumed Rogue Company.